the streets teach you a lot. And a
Sure
lot
do.
of the stuff that happened in the streets still happen in business.
Oh yeah.
So it's like that growing up in that environment, I think it just taught me to like, yo, I tell people you got to have a good balance of business and street smarts. It's the perfect
Absolutely.
combination, bro.
Back again with another episode of Attractive Mindset. And today's guest, yo, the moment I met this man, personality unmatched, vibe unmatched, you know, presence lit up the straight room and just everybody gravitates around him. He knows how to really talk to people, very articulate, very down to earth, and, you know, just a gem to be around, Mr. Barion McQueen.
I appreciate you, bro. That's a great intro, man. I like it. I'm with that, man. I appreciate the opportunity, though, man.
Yeah, man. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Barion McQueen, man. I used to tell people I'm a personal branding expert, but it sounded too cocky. So I like to tell people now I'm a digital media strategist, right? So it's like the digital age is always changing. So I never want to say I'm an expert because I'm still learning too, right? So I felt like strategist is me trying to maneuver and still figure it out, but not be too cocky. So I like that better. Digital media strategist.
Digital media strategist. I like that.
Yeah, but that's me, man. I moved here to South Florida in 2013 with no plan, car full of Jordans and a laptop. And I thought when I used to come to South Florida, I used to just see so much money being transacted that I'm like, yo, man, I gotta get there. As a kid, I just always wanted to live near the beach because in Delaware, the closest beach was like 2 hours. And I'm like, man, whenever I grow up, I'm moving to Florida where it's a beach off every exit and I'm out. And I was like really frustrated I was at an engineering job for like 13 years, bro. Like I'm like my resume thin. Like I literally got 2 jobs on my resume, but I was way underpaid and I was just frustrated. And I called my homie E. Luke. I'm like, bro, I'm going to Florida. Like, I want you to ride with me. He's like, man, what's in Florida? I'm like, I'm driving there and I'm not coming back. And he's like, well, if you pay for my flight back, I'll ride with you. So I'm like, all right, bet. 18-hour drive, bro. And I'm just like, I got here. I called a guy that I knew that worked at the Kmart. He told me I could do loss prevention at Kmart to earn a little bit of money. And I'm like, all right, cool. When I get to Florida, I'm going to chop it up and meet with you. He's like, yeah, man, we knew you had experience in security and la-da-da-da-da. So I'm like, all right, cool. And I got here. The manager at the Kmart in Delaware never spoke to the manager here in Florida. So here I am thinking I at least got a little part-time job. So when I got here, the guy's like, nah, we never heard of you.
Wow.
We didn't even know you was coming. And I'm like,
damn.
I'm like, that general manager, he hated me though. I knew he hated me. He set me up to fail, bro.
Damn.
So the guy was like, yeah, man, I wish we would have known you was coming. We just filled that position last week. And we would have loved to put you in there because we wouldn't have had to train you. This is somebody new. He's like, man, let me call another Kmart and see if maybe they could get you 5 hours a week. I'm like, oh my God, this is like $30, bro.
Yeah.
Like, what I'm gonna do with that? But I took it. And I'm like, look, let's be clear. I'm looking for a real job, but I'm willing to, as I'm trying to find a real job, I'm willing to take these little $77 a week checks y'all giving me for something because I kept seeing my money just depleting, bro. And my mindset was a little messed up still too because I was a sneakerhead. So when I got here, sneakers was still dropping that I was like, yo, I need to get them. Yeah. And I'm like, mindset was stupid, bro. Like if I could get all the money back from sneakers and the matching hat with the sneakers that I've spent money on, bro, that's 6 figures, bro. It's easily got to be 6 figures. I tell people today, I bought my house with the Jordans that I sold on eBay.
Sheesh.
10 racks worth of Jordans. Damn. I didn't know people buy old sneakers. So my homie's like, yo, why you don't put those Jordans? You can't wear them all. Why you don't put them on eBay? I'm like, bro, they're not even brand new. He's like, no, it's a market for that.
Yeah.
People buying if they in good condition. You still got the box. You still got the tissue paper. I'm like,
yeah, I learned that in New York.
Look, I'm like, all right, man, well, I'm going to give you a pair and you show me how to set it up, man. And I mean, I had some Space Jams. He put them up there, bro, maybe on a Thursday. He put them up there for like $450 because I didn't have none of the boxes because I wouldn't have been able to fit all the sneakers in the car. So before I drove here, I had threw all the boxes out. So he's like, man, you losing a lot of money not having the box. I'm like, damn. But each one of them Jordans was just selling, bro. $450 here, $550. I'm like, people are buying used stuff. He's like, yeah, your shit's in good condition. So I'm like, all right, bro. By the time I looked up, I had the money for the down payment for the crib.
Wow.
$10,000 worth. This was in like 6 months.
Damn.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I still have that eBay page to this day called Thrift Premium. And that's where I used to sell like Jordans and like vintage sweatshirts and Nike hoodies from back in the day and old tracksuits that I used to get from Goodwill and put them on that site. Bro, that's a whole nother lane. But I tell people when it comes to this entrepreneurship, it ain't nothing I ain't tried, bro.
Facts.
I'll try it all. If I'm like, oh, you can flip couches from Craigslist? Let me try that. Like, I'm trying it all. I'm not the guy that I don't want to be the shoulda, woulda, coulda guy. I want to try it all, and I fail fast. If it don't work, all right, I'm going to keep it moving.
So growing up in Delaware, do you feel like that molded you to really get that hustle because you already had that coming over to South Florida where you like, man, I'm moving and I'm not looking back? How'd you develop that mindset?
I think my mindset was more of like, I was raised by a single mom and my mom did the bare minimums. I couldn't afford the Jordans and the shit that I wanted. So it was just like anything outside of making sure you're not homeless, making sure you got clothes and food. My mom did that. Anything extra, you on your own. That's extracurriculars. You want Jordan? I used to get my sneakers from the famous footwear, bro. So I used to get the Nikes that they was Nike, but they would look like the senior citizen Nike, right? Thanks. So I'm like, my mom like, yo, you want all that extra stuff? You gotta figure it out. I'm doing this by myself. Your dad not helping. He ain't paying child support. It's just me. So I'm like, man. So my first hustle, I tell people, I don't want to call it a business because it was definitely a hustle. I was maybe 11. I was stealing all the kids' bikes in the neighborhood. And I would strip your bike down and build new bikes out of everybody else's parts and sell them to the kids in my neighborhood. Spray paint them up, make them look custom. But and then I got caught. Had all the parts under my grandma's deck. And they like, what is all this? I'm like, oh, don't mind that. That's my business. They like, your business? What you do? I'm like, I build bikes for people. He like, but where you getting? And I'm like, oh, okay, you need to find something else. So I was like, all right, man. I started doing the baseball card. I ain't really never had no lemonade stand. I'm from the hood. Like, I'm like, I tried the baseball card thing. It didn't work. I tried to like finesse the ice cream man. Like if I could bring a certain amount of kids to your ice cream truck, is mine's free? Like all kind of stuff, bro. And then I got into the streets really bad. But I hate to tell people I was a smart drug dealer. I was a smart business person that knew how to not get caught. So it was just like, I don't want to glorify that stuff, but it was just like, yo, the streets teach you a lot. And a lot of the stuff that happened in the streets still happen in business.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that growing up in that environment, I think it just taught me to like, yo, I tell people you got to have a good balance of business and street smarts. It's the perfect combination, bro.
Absolutely. So, and that's why I feel like a lot of businesses don't do as well as they could nowadays, because when you grow up in those type of environments, like the drive, the mentality that you have is just like, yo, what the fuck is next? Like, I gotta really build. I gotta really push. I gotta really get to that next level. Even when you got certain amount coming in, you like, nah, like, dog, I gotta feed this person. I gotta do this for this person. And you only, me running into a lot of people in the regular world, and not to, put them down or anything, but the mentality is just like, I'm making my little thing here and I'm good with that.
And that's what, like, the same people I used to see in the streets, these the same people I see in business. They just got suits on. It's the same personality traits. It's that same slimy guy that was in the streets. He in business. You're going to see all these same people again in this business space. I think the thing that's tough about us is before we open our mouth, we already got 2 strikes against us, right? So as black people, we almost got to be perfect when we walk in the building, especially in business. You black and you young, nah. You got to give them. So you got to be very well dressed. You got to be very well spoken. You got to do everything not to get that 3rd strike when you do business now. And
Absolutely.
it's hard.
And, you know, and that, you know, as a testament, everybody that watches or knows me in person already, you already know how I am. And, you know, that's been my whole fight to business, is helping people realize, just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I did try that at first, where, you know, I was pulling out the collared shirts and this and that. And like, I would look so awkward in pictures, trying not to pose with putting my middle finger out, dog. Cause like, that's my regular personality. And, you know, it just didn't fit. And it got to a point where I was just like, fuck it. Like, I do really good business just because I like rap music and R&B, and, you know, I love being black.
Yeah.
You know, that shouldn't affect how I do business with you, because on my business side, you can't see any false things in my paperwork.
Right.
You can't see any crazy shit in my taxes. You can't see anything that I'm doing wrong, because I'm not.
Right.
I'm a good businessman, but my personality is separate from my business. Just because I run my business doesn't mean that's who my business is.
Facts.
And so, you know, really just hitting that element and getting to that level of conversation with people, once they really start to get to know me, it's like, yo, Rich don't give a fuck. And I don't.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. You know, I tell it like it is. And, you know, with my coaching, that's what I help people to do as well, is just tell your truth, man. Like, you gotta just, everybody trying to be somebody that they not. And you just really just got to vibe. You just got to vibe. And when you really start tapping into your natural self and start really telling people fuck off, like, you win.
Yeah. It's crazy because I went to an event maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and it was for a nonprofit foundation called Plan for Change. Get a table at this event, the table was $100K. So I'm like, oh man, I'm in a building with some elite. Like, this is next level. But I wasn't there as Barion McQueen. I was there working. Like, I was behind a camera.
Got it.
So, you know, I'm trying to develop something new that I'm working on. So it requires me to like get back out and kind of have a camera, and because I'm trying to grow something quietly, but the power of the personal brand is so crazy. So I get to this event, I'm taking pictures, and this lady says, what you doing here? And I was like, what you mean? It's like, you Barion McQueen? I'm like, yeah, why? What's up? She's like, and you working? Like, you like behind the camera? Like, you should be at our table. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to make a big scene about it. Like, I'm here working. Like, I'm working on something right now. So just let me work. And it's like, I'm not a celebrity. Like, just calm down. We all good. She's like, nah, I need you to speak to the owner of this. And then I'm like, So then I got an interview with the founder, the interview with the lady, Mary Spiro, who created the like VR glasses company called Seek. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like chopping it up. They like, yo, we need to have her on your podcast. We know exactly who you are. What are you doing here working? I'm like, yo, I'm trying to build something new. So that's why I'm here working. So it's like, I'm not afraid to still put the work in if I have to, right? I don't be behind the camera as much because I'm doing the business.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think when I last seen you, everybody was just like,
I was like, yo, this man's on camera.
So it was just like me trying to balance that. It's just like, I'm building something right now that it requires me to like, let me get back behind the camera and really show these people, like, especially the people that work for me, like, yo, trust, I don't need y'all. I appreciate y'all coming with me for the journey, but if I need to get behind there, I ain't scared to get in the field either.
Exactly.
You feel me?
No,
I'm a business owner that work.
Bro, that story right there, you know, like, you know, Dan will be the first one to tell you. I'll be I go off in the group chat, man. I start going off on people. And for the people that met me at this era where I'm not behind the camera, I'm like, dog, if you knew me when I was behind the camera, and I put that on everything, like, hey, Dan, I put that on everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? We breaking the fourth wall, you know.
Yeah.
Shout out to the man behind the camera, Dan, you know, day one. You know what I'm saying?
I see him everywhere, bro.
Dog, we are everywhere. And that's exactly how I was when I was behind the camera. It was so bad. He'll tell you, I crashed my car because I didn't sleep for like 4 days straight. Like I was really up, just grinding, sleeping 3 hours a night sometimes. But the time where I crashed my car, I was up for like 3-4 days, dog.
Wow.
Just I go shoot. I had 5-6 shoots a day back to back, and then I go home, edit, and just go right back out. And I just repeated that process. And so for the new people now, I'm like, yo, y'all got to turn in your stuff on time. You got to show up on time. You got to do this on time.
Yeah. You
got to do that. They see it from a perspective where, man, this nigga not doing that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not really taking it as serious. And I'm like, dog, I'm telling you, I got that dog in me. Like,
of course.
I'm telling you, it's out of everything that you could do, I can do it.
Yeah.
Whether it's the effects, whether it's the editing, whether it's the shooting, whether it's whatever. I said, I know how. I teach ROV Academy. Most of the people, not even most, but a lot of the people that are in ROV come from ROV Academy.
Oh, fire.
Yeah, and so that's me teaching them the basics, and they develop their own style over time. And we have some good videographers, dog. Some good photographers, and you know, and it just goes to a testament to, you know, once you get to a certain level, people can no longer see the version of you that you used to be. And so your credibility starts to really diminish in the field of creativeness. You know, I'll have some creatives talk to me about certain things, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, we're setting this up to do this, and they think I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. And I'm like, you know, I play my role now, and so I'm just like, okay, bro, sounds good.
That's crazy. I have a real estate photography business here in South Florida called Real Estate Capture. By far, I felt like I made way more money when it was just me. I could control everything. I knew everything that was going on. I'm a nervous wreck nowadays managing other personalities. So I know on any given day, a photographer can text me at 7 o'clock and be like, I'm not gonna be able to make that shoot. And then I have to go. So it's just like the funniest thing, I don't know. The funniest thing, I go shoot this house in Boca Raton, and this lady's like, nice house, like 4,000 square. You know how the houses in Boca look. One of them gated communities in Boca West or Woodfield Country Club, one of them. So I finished shooting, and the lady says to me, she said, man, Barion, you really shot this whole house really fast. I was like, yeah, you know, we back to back. I got another shoot right after you. Like, I got to keep it going. She's like, let me give you a tip, because I'm sure that company you work for, they don't pay y'all well. She gave me a tip, and I'm like, I don't really need a tip, but I thank you. And I slid her the 100 back. She was like, why? I was like, because I'm the owner. The look on her face. She was like, you're the owner and you're here working? Yeah. She's like, well, that's commendable. Like, that's commendable. I never heard from that lady right after that, right? So my guy that answers the phone in my office, he calls, he said, yo, what happened with that lady you just shot? I'm like, wow. He's like, she called here and she was like, moving forward, she don't want Barion to shoot her stuff. She was so embarrassed that she didn't want to see me again as the business owner that was working. But I'm like, man, why you can't just treat people like people? I'm like, here, I know they don't pay you well. Here, take this tip. I'm like, ma'am, if you knew what we made, your house ain't all that. Let's be clear. Like, but it's just like, I never been a business owner that wasn't scared to put the work in, because I put the work in to build it. So I think that misconception of just like, people see what they see online and they don't know the behind the scenes stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So
because of where we come from, I have like a almost devil's advocate on that, because I'm the same exact way. Like, you know, I'll pick the camera up if we need to fill something in or go do something. But I met somebody the other day, and in a conversation that we had, you know, he's actually the owner of a yacht, one of 5 yachts out here that's like a certain charter. And this man, he wouldn't tell me how much he made, but he was like, just to give you a preview into my life. He said, this yacht, I had to pay for it and it was broken. But what I paid for it while it was broken, in order to get it fixed, I had to pay $1,000 a day for 2 years. And so on top of whatever he paid for it, which he didn't tell me the amount, he had to pay $1,000 a day for 2 years to get it fixed and up and running. He was like, yeah, I own one of 5. He says, I'll never go out of business because we're the only ones allowed in South Florida. The port can't hold any more boats. It fits 140 people. And so, you know, he's walking us through this and just, you know, talking to me about it and everything. And, you know, telling me about his properties in Dubai and all these other places. And I'm like, man, like, this dude chose to have a conversation with me. Dan was there.
Yeah.
Dan was there and he was in the corner minding his business and chose to have a conversation with me, and just understanding that because of how I was processing certain things, you know, it was a networking event that I was at on the boat, which was, you know, Secure Your Future event. Shout out to Amari. And, you know, on that boat, it was a bunch of, you know, different people in different fields and everything. And I had chose to be like, hey, I'm just going to go as me, you know, and me going as me, I'm just going to represent myself.
Right.
I'm not going to advertise, you know, what I do to anybody. I'm just say, hey, I'm just here to support my friend. You know what I'm saying? And introduce people to come join the Instagram. But I also brought Dan and my assistant, Jackie. Those two, I made sure that they interacted with people for the companies.
Wow.
And so once I told him that, he was like, I knew that you understood that mindset of playing the role of being a leader. You know what I'm saying? And so he was like, you know, sometimes we like to throw our hands into a lot of things just because we can, but we undervalue how much more essence we can be making. He didn't even say money. He said essence we could be making as CEOs, because we have other people in position to do the things that we keep trying to do. He said, you know, and I always say it, but he also said it, you know, time is the one thing that you don't get back. And so the more time, even though we can do certain things, that you allocate to these things, the less time you have to really grow in that other direction. And so, you know, just
I went to
hearing that.
I went to a thing called the Millionaires Brunch at the W Hotel in South Beach. The reason I got on the list is because my homie works in concierge at the hotel. So he's like literally like the bad guy, the bellhop or whatever you want to call him at a hotel. But he was so smart. He was running across so many rich people. He started his own concierge service outside of what he do at the hotel. So the hotel is how he's getting the leads. And then he's like, next time you come in town, man, we can set you up with a house and a nice exotic car. And he's like, lays it all out for his clients. So he's like, yo, I'm going to get you on this Millionaires Brunch. You need to be there. Like, everybody's a millionaire in the building. So it's real chill. It's like good. So I'm like, all right, cool. Get me. So he gets me on the list. At this time, bro, I'm driving a Kia Optima, bro. Loved my Optima. This is the car that got me to Florida. It's good on gas. I love it, right? So I pull up, but it's valet, right? So I mean, fucking Bentleys, Rolls Royce, fucking McLarens, all this shit pulling up. And here I pull up in the Optima, right? So I pull up and I'm trying to get out of it fast so don't nobody see that I pulled up in the Optima. And another guy comes right behind me with the same Optima in black. So I'm getting out. I'm giving my ticket to the valet guy. He's like, yo, how you like that car? I'm like, man, I love it, man. It's good on gas. Like, I drove here from Delaware in this car. He's like, see, my McLaren's in the shop and this is my daughter's car, but I had to get here. But he's like, but man, it's a nice little car. And I'm like, so he's showing me all his cars, fucking Bentleys, Rolls Royce, Jags. He got everything. And I'm like, damn, but that was the talking point, was that we was both showing up in an Optima. So he's like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh man, I do digital marketing and stuff like that. He's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, what do you do? He said, I invented a spring that now every airplane needs.
Damn.
Bro, so I'm like, what the fuck, right? So me and him just chopping it up all night. Like, I'm like, all right, I got a friend in here now. Now I'm feeling like I belong. And what changed my, I won't say my life, but changed my trajectory was, this was in 2018, November 18th. I'll never forget it. November 18th, 2018, as I'm leaving this millionaire's brunch, the guy says, Baron, what's your Instagram name so I can follow you? So anybody that knows me know I used to be a signed rapper back in the day called B to the Dot. That was how everybody knew me. And then I retired when I turned 30. That was it. Like I got my first deal at 18 with Epic Records. By 21,
you're gonna have to freestyle, right?
Oh shit. I got you. So, but I could not. So I only had my B to the Dot Instagram at the time. And I had my Frame by Da Vinci Instagram, but I didn't have a Instagram for me. And he was like, yo, what's your Instagram? I couldn't show this guy B to the Dot because I know he wouldn't get it. And I just gave him a business card. He was like, oh man, cool, man. We gonna stay in touch. I literally went and created my Instagram that day, bro. Went home and I'm like, yo, I fucking gotta start from scratch. Nobody gives a fuck about B to the Dot. Nobody. Frame by Da Vinci is cool because that's my work for pictures, but I never show my face on there, so nobody knows the face behind Frame by Da Vinci. So I'm like, damn. And that was the day that I started this personal branding journey, right? So people don't understand, like, I mean, now you could buy the blue check and stuff, but that was 5 years of work to build up my personal brand to what it is now, what people are seeing. And I just reverse engineered all the stuff I seen the other people in my space doing, the Grant Cardones, the Gary V's, the Dan Locks, all of these guys that were in this space I was trying to get in. I'm like, okay, what did they do? Okay, they wrote a book. Okay, they was contributing writers on all of these sites. And I just, for 4 years, bro, just studied all of these people. And then, so what people see now is just like, think I got it all figured out. This is 4 or 5 years worth of work. That they ain't see going behind the scenes. But that was the day that I started my Instagram, bro. It was the hardest thing I've ever done to start from scratch. But he told me, all of those people that you knew that knew you as B to the Dot or the rapper, that's not your target audience. You have to start over. So now my audience is people that maybe got a 9-to-5 job and they want to quit. Or they got a little side hustle and they try to scale it or like make it replace their 9-to-5. And I'm like, oh, I get it, man. So I'm such an advocate for the personal brand now that it's just I have went through it.
Absolutely got to. No, that's exactly what, we focus on, or I focus on, especially with Attractive Mindset, is really just, and it's not to sound, well, Black people can't be racist anyway, but hey, I'm saying, hey,
yeah,
but
that's a fact.
I want to help us get into position. And so most of the people in my companies, spread out, are minorities and Black, and, really putting us in position to get out of those 9-to-5s and do what you want to do on your time is my whole essence. I really started the entrepreneurial journey to choose 200 Black people out of a 9-to-5 situation. And I'm really, there's people in my company, but they're part-time. They're not full-time. They're not, some people are full-time, Dan's full-time, Ali's full-time, people like that full-time. But I'm only at 37.
Wow.
I've only helped 37 Black people out of the 200 goal that I set years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that alone to me is like, yo, I got to be able to reach more people and I got to be able to help more people get to the next level. And so, when my coaching client said, hey, make a business from scratch, do certain things, I'm not a really in front of the camera guy when it comes to being like, I'm a content creator, but I don't get stuck in content creation.
Right.
Which is, when people go on my social media, they're like, bro, you're so minimal. You don't post a lot. You don't do this and that. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to bring back that person-to-person conversation. All my meetings usually happen in person. I don't like doing digital. I don't like doing, across the state. Yeah, the money could come in, but I've never been somebody, I was homeless. And so I've never been somebody that's been attached to just the money.
Got it.
And so me having that personal relationship to really just look at them, feel emotionally what they're feeling, have that conversation with them takes us way further than just trying to get money out of them. Like, oh yeah, I could fix this. We could do this. Because if that's the case, yo, I have all that shit on a paper. Just, hey, this is what you do. We can have a call every week and I'll walk you through it. But I want them to understand that there's 4 systems. And so in my systems, we develop the emotional, we develop the physical, financial, and the mental. Those are the 4 key systems that you have to build when you're getting into business.
Fact.
And so most people come into, the business realm. I target people that are trying to start businesses and scale to 6 figures.
Right.
That's been my call to fame for a long time, because that's all that I had.
Right.
But now I can help people get to 500,000 because we've done that. You know what I'm saying? So I've only helped people get to places where I've been. And so when they come in, I'm like, hey, some of them may have businesses already and they'll be stuck. And I'm like, okay, hey, how are you feeling emotionally?
Yeah.
How are you mentally?
Yeah.
How are you physically?
Yeah.
And when we start really breaking down those systems, they realize how much they weren't focusing on the other, which takes away from that financial system.
Got it.
And we start developing stuff around that, time management, discipline on just doing certain things, triggering certain things, and it changes dramatically, and when the Toyota guy came in and we changed his business around, he added 20,000 to his business a month.
Wow.
Off of just changing a script.
Wow.
And so it's just like, the certain mental things that people limit themselves on it's not all about the money.
That's a fact.
It's not all about the money, and having a good system in place is what's going to take your business to that next level.
Yeah. I have I wish people could see my DMs, bro, of just like time wasters, of people just like, I know before you sent that DM to me, you're not ready. You're not ready. I give you kudos for the courage to DM me, but this speed and this level of business that we operate at, my sister always tells me, she's like, yo, you can't expect people to move at your rate because you think your rate is normal. She's like, somebody come up with a business idea and you got a website up and all the social media and all of that stuff in 24 hours. That's not normal to most people. So you have to stop thinking what you do is normal to other people. And I'm like, well, they got the same 24 hours in a day. I can't. Why they can't do it? And she's like, no, you can't think like that. You're a unicorn running amongst horses. And I'm like, So I started thinking about that. Like my wife, I would love for my wife to be an entrepreneur. I'm like, yo, don't you want to be no manager at the dentist office? Like you talk about you hate work all the time. Like won't you find something and let's invest and do some business? And she says, because I don't want that for me. And I'm like, why? Who wouldn't want that? Like, I'm an entrepreneur. You should be an entrepreneur. You live with me and people pay me every day for this advice and my own wife don't take it. She's like, because I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm a leader. I don't want to have the pressure that you have at night to make sure you're going to reach payroll and make sure other families eat. I don't want that pressure, but I'm somebody that can work for an entrepreneur as a leader or as a manager. That's where I thrive.
That's a necessity.
And when she told me that, I said, you know what? You absolutely right. I fucked up. I'm sorry. Like, you right. And it's just like, I had to understand this entrepreneurship thing ain't for everybody.
It's not.
It's a different level of beast. Like I thought I was an entrepreneur for a really long time. And then a guy told me, do you have HR? Do you have W-2 employees? Do you have all of this stuff? I'm like, nah. He's like, all right, well, you're a solopreneur. You make money off what you do and you're not responsible for other people's livelihood. When you get to that level, it's a different beast. And then I started to see that and I'm like, oh my God, this kind of pressure is just like, I got clients that can't pay. They ain't paying right now, but I got to make sure my guys get paid. So now I'm like paying my people with my personal stuff, waiting on whole nother conversations, bro, that I'm like, people are not ready for. This entrepreneurship shit is not cute at all. It's hard. I never had gray hairs, bro. Like they everywhere now. Like, but I can't imagine myself. I can't go work for nobody else. I never could go back to that. It's just me.
And so what would be 3 key pieces of advice that you would give to somebody getting into the entrepreneur game?
One piece of advice is I tell people that they just need to start. Most people get in their own way. This fear of failing is just like, yo, you just got to start. You're not even going to know until you start. People hit me up all the time, man. I wanted to write my own children's book, and people just never start. My family's guilty of it. My friends guilty of it. People pick my brain about business all the time, and I can see them 2 years later, and they still never started that one thing. And I'm like, yo, I start everything. Like, I don't play that. So I would say just start. Second, I would say is fail fast. Right? I've got into businesses that I was like, I thought it was gonna be good, and when I got in it, because I failed fast, I just learned a lesson, and I learned that I didn't like that. Fail fast. And then the third I would say is get around some like-minded people, because I just recently started a Facebook group called the Entrepreneurs Inner Circle, and it's like, it's a lot of conversations you almost can't even have with normal people. Your friends, your family, they don't know, they don't see the vision, they don't see where you're going with it. They don't see it until it's real to them, and then they like, oh, that's what you was doing. But when you get around some other people who think like you, I tell people like, we're hybrids. I'm gonna come out with these shirts called "We Are the Hybrids." So we like creatives, but the combination of creatives and business are the hybrids. When you get around some other people that think like you, it's just like, oh man, just think about the brain power that's in the room, the different perspectives. Like, I got mentors that don't even know that they was my mentors, just people I liked what they was doing, and I just started studying them. Shout out to like people like Cody Sanchez. Like, she's a beast, bro. She's like 10 million a year, and all she do is buy boring businesses. And I'm like, why is nobody talking about this? Like, and she's one of the GOATs. And it's like, yo, I just find people like that I'm like, I'm not paying them to be a mentor, but I like what they doing, and I'm just like, yo, if I don't get some game from them, then I probably shouldn't be watching them, because there's a lot of people you can watch out here that can send you down a rabbit hole of just bullshit with no pride. Everybody is an infopreneur, where they just selling you the information, but they ain't even done the shit that they selling. So
exactly.
So that's what I'll say, man. I would say just start, fail fast, and get a mentor.
Copy. And so if somebody wanted to get into personal branding, what would you say to them?
I would tell people, if you want to get into personal branding and you got the money, you can hire me for $5,000 a month. If you don't got the money, download my ebook. It's gonna take you twice as long, but it's cheaper. It's only $10. So it's like, yo, I gotta do it like that, because it's like, I know everybody can't afford $5,000 a month, right? I know people can probably afford $1,000 a month. So if you don't have the money, you got to at least invest the time. It's going to take you twice as long. And that's the thing about this entrepreneurship space. You get a mentor is going to allow you to skip some steps. If you don't got the money to skip steps, then you take the long route.
Yeah.
And you figure it out. But I'm going to give you my step-by-step guide, because I did it. This is 4 or 5 years worth of work rolled into 50 pages of like, yo, this is my step-by-step guide. And that's $10. If you can't spend the $10, now I don't got no answer for you, because I done gave you a range from $10 to $5,000. If you can't find something that fits you in that range, then you're not serious. And that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Barion, please tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
Man, I tell people, go to my official website, BarionMcQueen.com, and then you go there and you pick what platform you like. You like YouTube, I go on there. You like Instagram, I'm on there. TikTok, whatever, I'm on there, man. BarionMcQueen.com. That's it.
Okay. And then you have a podcast as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
I have a podcast called Everyday Game Changers. And it's about everyday people that's just doing great stuff in business, community, music. And it's just like, I think it's like people out here that's doing some good stuff that people probably don't even know about. Mm-hmm. So it's not really about like me calling my celebrity friends and getting them on the show. It's like, yo, it's everyday people doing some amazing stuff. Maybe they don't like being on camera, and we getting them on camera for the first time. So it's like, it's that platform to really come on and people to share their stories. I love hearing people's journeys. Everybody's journey is different. But if you look at this entrepreneurship space, we all share a level of sacrifice that we can relate to. So that's Everyday Game Changers. So
absolutely, man. It was such an honor to just have you on Attractive Mindset.
Appreciate
your vibe, your energy, the knowledge that you have. You could tell that you've been through a lot and just amassed it over the years. And I appreciate having this one-on-one conversation just to get to understand more about you, but just even know more about you in general, you know. And so if you like, Please share, subscribe, make sure that you visit his page, check out his podcast, Everyday Game Changers. And, just as we say all the time, we look good, we live good, life is good. Talk to us when we talk back. That's the motto. We out of here.
Facts.